You're listening to the Get Off My Soapbox podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We want to make the world a better place and share life-educated opinions and have discussions on various topics. Welcome your host. He is a jack of all trades, master of none, and always wants to know, how's your integrity today? Mad Morgan!
Hello. Hey, Soapbox Nation. Thanks for joining me for the Season 1 finale, Episode 20 of Get Off My Soapbox. Hey, I'm your host, Mad Morgan. I want to thank you very much for joining me this evening. I know it's a day off. I do apologize on that. I know it's supposed to be Wednesday night, but I've just had a crazy week. It's been so busy at home, so busy at work, so busy in the world, and it's the Christmas season, so it's Christmas chaos, Christmas busyness all over the place, and it's just wow. So, I don't like to rush things. I like to put some quality into stuff, so I didn't want to just throw it at any junk and let it stick to the wall. I said, forget that. No, I'm going to delay it a day, catch up on what I got to, and then, get to it. So, hey, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining me today. Well, this evening, actually, for that matter, because it's Thursday evening. Wow. So, what can I say? Well, let's start off with the usual. How's your integrity been? How you been holding up? You've been being the positive change. You're setting the example. Come on, together we could do it. It's domino effect, my friends. If we all do our best to be a better person, be nice and kind and considerate, and actually work together, then we can get the world that we want. We can get the happiness and security that we want. It is possible. You just got to believe in it. So, as always, I'm your host, Mad Morgan. Today we are going to do a 2022 wrap up and Season 1 conclusion. That is what we are discussing today. And that is what we're going to go with. What can I say about 2022? Wow. It's funny, when COVID came around in 2020, it was interesting because it just seemed so surreal. It seemed so Orson Welles. I don't know. It seemed so out in left field. Like it wasn't a possibility. It was just, I don't know. It's like a bad movie. bad movie about a virus outbreak. It didn't seem real. It was something that I think we thought we saw on TV or on movies. Like it wasn't something that lived in our backyard, and especially in the North American market. Now, I'm gonna have to say, some people in the world that will be listening to our show and listening to all the stuff that goes on and what we talk about, we have a North American perspective. And it's a little bit of a naive perspective, I will agree, because as much as our world seems perfect, we're just happen to be in that part that doesn't have a lot of this chaos. I mean, all the chaos is south from where I'm actually located because it's so cold up here. Nobody wants to come up here. I mean, I'm in the Great White North. I'm in Canada, the nation's capital. So yeah, nobody wants to come up here. So it's too cold for any chaos to happen. The chaos starts when you start heading south of the Ottawa, Carleton area. When you start getting towards Toronto, that's when you get the psychos. That's when you get the craziness. You start going south of Kingston, you start getting craziness. You start getting the chaos, bottom feeders. You start getting worse as you go into the States. It's just south. It goes really crazy from the heat. I call it just crazy from the heat and all that BS. But yeah, it's really weird how that works. So when other people in parts of the world start hearing about all the stuff that's going on in Canada, they're like, or when we talk in our shows, it's like, oh well, that's like every day for me. That's like nothing new. But this pandemic, that was international. That was worldwide. That was in everybody's backyard. And we, in my opinion, failed at this miserably. And a lot of ignorant people didn't get any smarter, and it just went ballistic. So 2020, we cooperated, we helped the earth. We actually did good for about maybe 6 months. And then, from going from the point of helping out each other to being kind and considerate, like it started looking like it was a perfect world starting to form. We finally grew up. We finally stopped being ignorant. We finally stopped being a bunch of assholes. And we started actually working together and helping each other and healing the earth and less pollution. That was really short-lived, unfortunately. As much as it scared the crap out of everybody, I thought maybe it was a wake-up call in 2020 when COVID hit. It was like, wow, okay. And everybody's little light bulb went on the top of their head, and they're like, oh, wow, okay. Let's work together. Let's be better. Let's make a good future. And then, as I said, 6 months at most, then we all started becoming assholes. Oh, well, I don't want to wear this mask. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. Oh, you can't make me. Yeah, well, that's how it went, folks. The childish, spoiled, rotten, tantrum friggin' idiots out there started crying about freedoms, started crying about all this stuff, and I don't want to be mandated, and I don't want to be pressured to do stuff, and it just went crazy. So 2020 going into 2021 had a little bit of chaos. You had the babies crying out about stuff. But, you know, you were thinking between 2020 and 2021, 2020, we were still kind of scared, but then some people started throwing tantrums. Going into 2021, people were fed up. They're like, whatever. But, I figured 2021, we got that all out of our system. I was kind of hoping we would have got it all out of our system because a lot of booms happened in 2020. Some people got freaking filthy rich because of crypto. They just were sitting on it, and then boom, they got rich. Now all these idiots got money. Yeah, the kind of people you don't want to have money. It's kind of scary. And then people decided to seek out careers as influencers and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And everybody wanted to jump on that bandwagon because it seems so easy. Well, you know what? There's a small percentage of people that succeed as being influencers, quote unquote, or streamers, whatever you want to call them. A small percentage of those you can actually call creators, but everybody jumped on that bandwagon. So 2021, you figured the chaos came to a close. We were getting closer to getting a grip on the whole COVID thing. Here comes 2022. 2022. Now, I'm going to say this all from a North American perspective. So this is where I'm coming from. It's from a North American perspective, especially up here in Canada, in the northern part of the world. So we still had COVID lingering over our heads, and we're up to about pushing our third booster shot at this point. And we were still trying to figure out, okay, are all the crybabies crying about freedoms and mandates and all this crap like that, they're going to settle down and behave themselves or whatnot? But 2022 comes in. And what do we have? Let's look at the US, where all the chaos and drama in the world happens. This is where all the chaos, all the crazies are. Yeah, in the US. America, yeah. So anyways, Capitol Hill gets attacked. You know the funny thing about that whole riot invasion thing of Capitol Hill? A good portion of those idiots thought it was the White House. Yeah, let's just let that sink in for a second. Yes, a good majority of those people thought it was the White House. And not that, there's been enough movies about attacks on the White House and people getting mowed down because of the amount of security and defenses and everything else when it comes to the White House. For some reason, Billy Bob figured that, I must be doing something right because I could get up to the White House and I can actually attack it. And I'm not saying it's always Billy Bob, but that just makes a lot more fun because there's some backwater people that decided to actually attack Capitol Hill in the States. And yeah, it was just kind of funny. So, I had to go with that. Yeah, I know a bunch of you are getting your dickers in a knot, but deal with it. You don't come across as the smartest people in the world. Anyways, Capitol Hill gets attacked. Okay, that was interesting. Act like a bunch of kids, vandalizing crap, just tossing up the place, taking selfies. That was a stupid idea. Let's take selfies. Let's show the whole world it's me. And then 2 weeks later, why are the cops showing up at my front door and arresting me? That's pretty interesting. Well, that's a good question. Well, maybe because you did something stupid and took a picture and put it on social media. Okay, so this is how the year started. If you can imagine, this is how the year started. We started with Capitol Hill. We started with the Capitol Hill thing in the U.S. I know stuff was going on in the rest of the world, the usual chaos, everything from North Korea to this to that, you name it. Okay, but this is the beginning. We're already trying to recover from the last 2 years in COVID, the uptick and downtick of cryptocurrency, which really did hurt the markets, believe it or not. The other thing is, of course, the whole influencer boom. Everybody's jumping on board. Oh yeah, free money for everybody. Getting to see that people don't want to go back to work because they think they could just have a free ride. But let's not get off track here. So we started off with a bunch of idiots in the States. Now, in Canada, we figure all the drama stays in the States. It's a nice little soap opera. We like to watch the chaos down there. It's kind of fun. Well, not this year, folks. No. These idiots decided to attack Capitol Hill, got sponsors. They got sponsors now. Woohoo! And they got sponsors, and these sponsors gave them lots of money. And they decided that they were going to get them all the way up to Canada and spread the chaos up here. And that's exactly what they did. What they call themselves, freedom fighters. Freedom fighters, woo! All right. No, they came up here. They laid siege to our capital, our White House, our Parliament Hill, as we call it, and caused chaos. They were rude. They were abusive. I mean, if you saw interviews with these people, wow, they were just a special breed. I unfortunately had falling outs with friends because it seems like the lines were drawn at this point. Some people were for the points of whatever their actual movement was. I mean, they were crying about mandates. They were crying about this, crying about that, but they couldn't get their facts straight. But all they like to do is be a chaos, be a nuisance, make it seem like they were so righteous. But it was just a couple months of complete BS. We've never seen this before. Frankly, I think the government handled it well. I would have did the same thing. Actually, I would have called in the reserve. I would have called in the military, frankly. I wouldn't have just left it as a police action, but that's just me. I would have seriously called in the military at this point. This is the nation's capital. This is the country's capital. Okay? So the fact that they called in the Emergency Act, and this is funny because Justin Trudeau is the son of, sorry, hang on a second. The Trudeaus, I always get them mixed up. Okay, so there's John Elliott Trudeau. Let's get this correct. Anyways, the Trudeau that we have in now, the son, I don't blame him for what he did. He's a little bit of a, I like to be in front of the camera guy, but I didn't mind the way that Justin handled it. I think he handled it quite well, personally. But I also thought that the siege should not have went on any longer than it did. It went on way too long. So the fact that it got cleared up, great. But guess what? Now that part of the downtown is completely blocked off from road traffic because we're not going to have idiots like this come to our capital and do this again. No, we've decided, no, we're blocking it off. You can no longer drive down that place. Thank you very much, you mother trucker wuckers, you stupid free dumb fighters. It's not free dumb as in, looking for freedom, like, woohoo, America, no, freedom as in you're idiots. And if you look at the interviews, these were all aggressive meathead idiots. I mean, the intelligence level or the aggression level was just incredible. Really, no education, no intelligent speeches came out of that whole thing. But this is the way our year started. Started at Capitol Hill, moved on to capital of Canada, nation's capital, and this is how our year started. We're already trying to deal with getting over the previous 2 years of COVID. This is how our year started. Now, these guys are crying freedom. Guess what's happening in the rest of the world? People that are actually losing their freedoms. A perfect example of freedoms being lost. Do you think it even phases these mother truckers that are downstairs laying siege to the capital of Canada? Nope. During this time, Russia invades Ukraine. There is actual freedoms being lost. An unjust war by Russia. Again, go figure, attacking Ukraine. These are actually freedoms being lost. These are people dying for no reason. This unjust war, there's no need for it. But these mother truckers are still protesting, still laying siege, still making a big nuisance of themselves. Although the other part of the world can actually show you a perfect example of freedoms that are being lost. These dense mofos are not cluing into the fact that what they're crying about, what they're throwing a tantrum about is nothing. Personally, if I was one of them and I was, yeah, fight, no mandates, no this, no that, and then this other stuff happened like the Ukraine, I would have packed up and said, yeah, I'm going home because, yeah, they're actually losing their lives, their freedoms. Yeah. So this protest is childish. We're going home. Boom. Anyways, so this is how our year started, leading in, of course, to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Wow. What has happened in 2022? 2022 is supposed to be a year of healing. It was not the year of healing. It was so much of a year of loss, so much of a year of stupidity. I wish there was something I could say good about 2022. I really wish I could, because I was hoping it was going to be a rebuilding year, and it looks like we got to wait till 2023, and I'm hoping 2023 comes out a lot better than 2022 did. So let's go into our year. Look at some major highlights of what has actually happened in this year, which just sucked. Roe versus Wade got overturned. For nearly 50 years, Roe versus Wade guaranteed the legal right to terminate a pregnancy. Got overturned. What's going on with this world? Oh, yeah. Florida. Remember Florida? All the craziness from Florida? They cured COVID in the first 2 weeks. Remember Florida? Yeah. They decided, well, we're going to do this. You can't say gay anymore. Yes, they actually have a don't say gay anymore bill. That's on top of the other craziness. You're not allowed to say gay in Florida. Just so you know. Don't ever go there. Okay? Wow. Okay. So let's look at some other stuff. Oh, yes. Elon Musk buys Twitter. And then again, maybe not. We're not sure. I think eventually he did. It's been a back and forth. This is what happens when you have some guy with way too much money and he likes being in the spotlight. Let's buy Twitter. No, let's buy Twitter. Hey, it's only $44 billion. It could only feed people for many lifetimes over. Maybe I'll buy it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Oh, I tell you. Jesus. Boris Johnson resigned in 2022. Oh, yeah. Omicron, the variant of COVID. Yes, COVID was not completely done. It's still around. The rise of that. But I guess the good thing is that we actually made some strides, some success when it came to COVID. We actually made some advancements. Our vaccines have been working. We've been able to, as much as there's a lot of idiots out there and a lot of ignorance and a lot of, stupidity, we still managed to get a grip on it, which is kind of amazing. It is kind of amazing that we actually were able to get a grip on COVID because yeah, I mean, we could have did it sooner, but with all the tantrums, yeah, it is what it is. But it's still around, but it's controllable to an extent. But the problem is you really hurt the health sector. Really did. A lot of people have quit. A lot of people don't want to go into health. So this is just a temporary breathing space, and hopefully nothing else happens for a while. So Omicron's still around, so COVID's still around, so don't kid yourself. There's still stuff that we have to be concerned about, so still be cautious, still use some caution, still use some intelligence health-wise. Inflation, I mean, wow, the inflation surge was a big thing. Inflation's going on right now. Everything's expensive. For whatever reason, everything's expensive. The supply chain is kind of broken. So we still have some recovery we need to do going into 2023. There's a lot more work that we still need to do. It's just craziness. I mean, just craziness, the amount of stuff that still needs to be patched up because, as I said, we didn't have the time to do it in 2022. We thought we would. Thought we would have, opportunities indeed to be able to patch stuff up. Well, not so much. Okay, let's look at some other news, but still, not the best of thing. Unfortunately, we lost Her Majesty the Queen this past year. Bless her soul. Let's remember her. She was the longest reigning monarch. She served well, and she would definitely be missed because the fact that Charles is in charge now, we're not sure how well that's going to go. Yeah, it's always been a scary thing. She thought it was scary too before she passed. She was like, uh-oh, I'm leaving the country in charge. I'm leaving the union in charge of Charles. Scary thought. I mean, the beginning of the year, we lost Meatloaf. There's been a few upsets this past year. Some icons in entertainment that we have lost, unfortunately. Yeah, it's been pretty scary, pretty scary this past year. But I mean, there's been some advancements. NASA has some advancements. John Webb, that telescope, that's all been good. What else have we done? I know there's been probably some things that we've actually done that were more successful in 2022, but it's always the negative things that usually stick with you because they're so shocking. They're so like, what's going on? What's going on? And I guess overall what I'm saying is I just hope that going into 2023, we can be smarter about our decisions. I mean, that is the goal. I mean, I decided this year to move from video and move over to the podcast. So let's get into that. That's what I decided to do this year, because there seems to be a new marketability more so, because what happened when everybody was at home, people decided to get into being creators of some sort, whether it was videos or whatever. They decided to get in on it. And it seems to be a booming industry, but it's a very competitive industry. A lot of people have really a lot to say, but no real substance. So I decided this year that, you know what? I was actually, forget about the video because I can't sing and dance, but let's get into the podcast to make a difference. And that's what was my goal. And that's why I decided, hey, what do I want to go with? What do I want to represent? I want to have a voice. I don't want to be random. I don't want to just talk about astringent niche stuff all the time, rinse and repeat. Let's put some variety in there. That's what my plan was, put some variety in there. But once a week was the original plan, so I could free up time for family and work and everything else. But I figured, hey, get off my soapbox once a week. And then let's do the soapbox daily, Monday to Friday. Let's do that, a little bit of blurb just to keep the ball rolling, because there's too much to talk about, too many things to address out there in the world. So that was the plan. That was the plan. But as I mentioned, this whole creator thing is such a competitive industry. I mean, so competitive industry. Absolutely. Everybody and their dog, yes, believe it or not, everybody and their dog has a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything along. It's just like a saturated market where so many people are absolutely saying nothing, and this small percentage are ones actually being seen because they have the budgets, they have the sponsorships, they have the amenities to be able to take things to the next level, which makes them stand out. Like, so much for the little guy making good. I like those stories. I like the little guy succeeding, guy, girl, however you want to put it. I like to hear those stories. I like to hear the David and Goliath stories where the small ended up becoming successful. I really dislike these people that already have money and already have a famous position in life. They've already have their name known and all that stuff like that. And then they get in and steal opportunities from the small person that's trying to actually make something successful. That kind of bugs me. As I said, I like the Cinderella story. I like going from nothing to something. Those that please me. I saw this one guy, and this is one of the things that really discouraged me and got me out of the whole video making industry, is I saw some guy, I don't know, I think it was Las Vegas. He had more money than I know what to do with. So he built himself a nice little studio in the basement with all this fancy gear and all this stuff like that, and puts on a weekly show. And he's like, I don't know how I'm so successful. I don't know how. Well, maybe the fact that people already know your name, you already have some fame, and you have tons of money to throw on the presentation and the cameras, and you have an editing crew and you have all that stuff like that. I'm not impressed. I'm really not impressed. Honestly, you're just some person with way too much money. And that's why I want to, whether or not you back our show, that's up to you. I mean, I'm perfectly fine either way. If you back our show, you back our show. If you want to sponsor our show, we should definitely use it because it's coming out of pocket at this point. We're taking this out of our own, or my own, for that matter, my own expenses, my own paychecks. This is something that I pay for. And whether or not you can get behind the positive message I try to spread every single show, every single episode, to try to make a change in the world, to try to make a difference, to try to push the world into the right direction, that's fine. Because I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I understand that. But support the little guy. Support the little person that's trying to do this as a career, trying to do this professionally, trying slowly up and coming. There's some talent I've met over the years, not personally, but witnessed online, that been at it for a while, near to a decade of working, slaving forward, trying to actually build a social presence. And they finally got there. And it was just a long haul, but they finally got there after a decade. It shouldn't take that long. It shouldn't take that long. Because what happens is that in the social media market, all the big names get pushed to the front. And then they have the budget to be able to advertise. Then they have the budget to be able to push their face and their show and all their stuff in front of everybody else. So the little person gets stuck behind. And it takes, from what I've seen, about a decade, 10 years to actually come to the forefront. Shouldn't be that much. There's a lot of hidden talent out there. And I want to implore you guys, I don't know how you say that. Yeah, I think it's something along those. I'm going to encourage you guys. Let's use a different word. I'm going to encourage everybody. As I said, if it's not for me, okay, fine. I understand. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But support the little person, okay? Whether it's social media, whether it's a creator, whether it's videos, whether it's podcasts, support even somebody in the local community. Support little people that are creative, okay? Starting out people. Support them. The reason I'm going to say is this, because some of the best ideas come from the smallest beginnings, right? Some of the best things come from the smallest beginnings, and that's it. It's an idea. It's an idea somebody has had, and they want to move forward with it, but they keep on hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock until they get frustrated and give up because there's no support. I know I've been there. I did that with my videos. I burned myself out working in the video side of things. I burned myself out and got nowhere near the amount of success or exposure I should have. Even our podcasts are quite slow, unfortunately, because it hasn't been discovered. It hasn't gotten to the right eyes yet. And I'm sorry, but the amount of money and time I burnt out on videos and working in that industry, I said, I don't have the budget to be able to do that stuff anymore. Like pursuing that particular way of going about changing the world and making a difference and actually getting the message out there. Can't do it. No. So with podcasts, it's all about time. It's all about time, being smart, working smarter, not working harder, doing what I can with what I got and not burning myself out so I can tend to everything else I need to, because I have a family I have to think about. I have a career I have to think about. I have work. I have all that stuff. This stuff has to be taken care of. And I do this in my own time, out of my own love for the people of the world, my own love for wanting a better future for everybody. That's my goal. I think about community. I'm not one of these selfish, psychopathic, dog eat dog. Oh, I'm going to get mine, type people. Unfortunately, I'm glad those numbers are far and few between because we don't need those kind of people in the world. But I want to encourage all the logically minded people, the good people, the people with integrity that can help influence others to want to do good things, to want to have a better future. There's no reason we should be going through all those stuff in the world that we do. There's no reason we should have strife. There's no reason we should have pain. There's no reason we should have fear. There's no reason we should not have all the stuff that we need in order to live happily and be productive and actually have advancements human-wide, the whole earth can have advancements where we could all be provided for, have a sense of security and safety and innovation and all. The possibilities are endless, but we have to get rid of the bad elements. And in order to do that, we have to start being positive. We have to start influencing others to want to do good, to want to have integrity, to want to be honorable, to want to do the right thing, and not be so self-serving and start serving to everybody, serving to the world. Everybody serves everybody to make the world a better place. And that's where we're at. So we're coming to the end of season 1 of Get Off My Soapbox. And this is our last episode that we're wrapping up. We got to episode 20 because we only did it once a week. So episode 20, it's almost half a year. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting. And we're going to continue on with Get Off My Soapbox. Season 2 is going to start sometime in the new year. I'm not saying it's going to be the first of the month. I'm not saying it's going to be the first week or second week or whatever. I really want it to be more. I want Get Off My Soapbox to be more. I want to get guests or maybe a co-host. I want to get other people involved. I want to have debates and communications and discussions about stuff rather than you guys just listening to me blab on in length for at least 30 minutes an episode. I would like to get more into that. So yeah, I'm not going to make any commitments. That's why I've knocked them down to seasons. For all I know, seasons will consist of only 20 episodes per season. I haven't decided right now. I know season 1 is just 20 episodes because that's where we're ending it right now for this year, for this season. This is the last one of season 1. And actually, coincidentally, the last one that will have a video created for it because of the time allotment that's needed to actually produce the video component of it. Because, and I ask this of you, the listener, thank you for tuning in. We need sponsors. And as much as we try to get sponsors, we need to get listeners. In order to get listeners, we need to get followers and subscribers. We need to get people to acknowledge that they want to know. We got to get numbers to present to sponsors to say, hey, X number of people are listening. If X number of people are listening, oh, excellent. So you want to have your product announced on the show? Great. That's excellent. And you know what that helps me with? Is the fact that helps me with the costs that are coming out of my pocket. Not only my time, not only the production, everything else that I do, but it helps me to cover the actual costs that I put out of my pocket each month to be able to be here for you for each and every episode. That's a commitment. And I'm sorry, I'm going to toot my own horn. That is being selfless. That is being selfless. That is being generous. That is being having integrity. And that is being there for everybody else. I'm not looking to get famous. I'm not in it for the money. I am in it to make a change and help this world be better. Because I believe in the world. I believe in humankind. We can be better than we are, but we are really failing up to this point. I'm sorry. There's so much better we can be, and I want us to be there. And I'm going to continue on with the show, as I mentioned. But season 1's coming to a close. It's been one hell of a year. I'm trying to keep it together because I'm being a monarchist. The fact that Her Majesty passed on, that was a hard blow. And also starting off with Meatloaf passing on at the beginning of the year, that was a hard blow too. So there's a few hard blows, and I'm hoping that 2023 is going to be better. And we will be back for season 2 sometime in 2020. Oh, but in the meantime, hey, guess what? If you go to GetOffMySoapbox.com, yes, GetOffMySoapbox.com, you can sign up for our mailing list, and you can be notified when episodes are released. Yep. You can be notified when episodes are released. Or you can also keep an eye on Twitter over at @MadSoapbox. @MadSoapbox on Twitter. That is our Twitter page. You can find out everything that's going on there. We will keep you informed and up to date and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, that's about it for now. But yeah, the newsletter kind of helps because believe it or not, when we actually post a new episode with our newsletter, we send an email out to everybody that signed up for the newsletter and let them know that, hey, guess what? There's a new episode. Go check it out. So that's what I implore you to do if you want to keep track of when season 2 is going to be released. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you very much for listening, especially for the first season of Get Off My Soapbox. If you listen to Soapbox Daily, great. We get a double whammy. Nice to have you around for both shows. As I mentioned, Soapbox Daily will continue. I'm going to take the last week of December off to spend with family from Soapbox Daily, but that's going to be the only week we're going to take off. Otherwise, you will get new episodes Monday to Friday of Soapbox Daily minus the last week of December. But as far as Get Off My Soapbox, that will continue sometime in the new year. Not sure when, but I'll let you know. And if you subscribe, you'll be first to know before everybody else will. All right. Thank you again. Bless you all. Have a safe and happy holiday season going into the new year. Please keep your integrity in check. Try to be the best person you can be. The only way we're going to do it is to influence others, is to be an example. Domino effect, my friends. Domino effect. If you do it, it affects other people, just like negative and positive. Whatever you are, whatever you show, whatever you live will influence others. Have some integrity. Be the best person you can be. Thank you for listening. All the best. I will see you sometime in the new year. If you listen for Soapbox Daily, I will see you next episode for that. All right. Take care until then. Bye for now.
That's all for this episode of Get Off My Soapbox podcast. Appreciate you tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from Mad Morgan, head over to GetOffMySoapbox.com for links and details. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow so you don't miss the next episode.